G'day, folks, and welcome to Mad Max, the first movie in the spectacular franchise directed by George Miller. 1979, and it stars Mel Gibson in the title role.
Apologies to
what a fitting role.
Apologies to Australians everywhere.
Yeah, so funny that because Mel Gibson ended up becoming almost just as, if not more crazy than Max himself.
Hey, if it's any consolation, it's being spoken by a British. You remember Australians, the British who kind of gave you your continent.
Yeah.
By force.
This is actually George Miller's first movie, I believe, and it started his interesting career. He's more of a Miller's established himself as a visual storyteller, and this was the first movie, and is it me or am I just repeating myself?
Yes.
Basically, this is a post-apocalyptic film. Okay, audience, start your copy just before the MGM logo, and when I say click, you press play on your Blu-ray player or whatever, and I can finally stop this terrible insult to Australians.
All right.
Okay. Another thing to make sure, please listen to the original Australian version, the one with Australian voices, because I'm not humouring the Americans who thought Americans were so stupid they couldn't understand our accent.
Hey, Americans, my fellow Americans, don't spoil the joke, but the Australian version's actually the definitive one over here, too.
Yeah. I'll explain it afterwards. Okay.
Alrighty.
Right. 3, 2, 1, click.
That's right, Waves. It turns out that lately over here in America, the easier version to find is the Australian version, which happens with a lot of Blu-ray re-releases and whatnot.
Okay, basically, when this movie was being released in the States, they decided to dub over the Australian voices of American ones because they thought Americans wouldn't understand the accents. Naturally, that pissed some people off, and the Blu-ray releases have included both the American and Australian audio tracks.
So you can have one for legit viewing and one for riffing. Seriously.
And they start by literally throwing the credits on our faces.
Yeah.
That's so 80s before the 80s.
I just noticed that, actually. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, so now I noticed that logo, that Mad Max logo, looks so much like the logo for Last Battle for the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Stranger's Return!
Okay, so, this started quite a few careers of George Miller, obviously.
Balls of Justice.
Mel Gibson's career.
From now.
And also, this movie has, the main villain, I think is the main villain, he's Toe Cutter, played by Hugh Keys-Byrne, who would return approximately 36 years later to play Immortan Joe in Fury Road.
All right.
Well, what better way to start off a movie? But yeah, I mean, so far this supposed apocalypse doesn't seem that bad.
This is leading up. Basically, Joe, this movie is leading up to the apocalypse.
I know.
Road Warriors. It's like
Hello there.
Each film in this trilogy is before, during, and after. This is before. Road Warrior is during. Beyond Thunderdome is after, and Fury Road is also during. During.
So I guess in the one that's after, peace is finally restored and the world's all cleaned up and stuff.
Yep.
But then George Miller decided to cause a time paradox, and Mel Gibson had to turn into Tom Hardy.
I've seen worse.
Oh, wait. So you're telling me that Fury Road is kind of the film equivalent of Phantom Pain in that regard?
It's like an alternate sequel.
No, I mean in terms of replacing main actors.
Yeah, although in this case it's understandable.
Well, yeah.
So basically, this is the lead up into the apocalypse. I guess it'll be partially during, since that seems to be part of the synopsis.
All right.
I guess it makes sense to cast Mel Gibson since he did spend quite a good portion of his life in Australia.
Yeah.
I think he was raised there as a kid.
More like he was born in America, then moved to Australia when he was 12.
Right. I wonder if we're
And
going to
here's a good setup for what will be a staple of this movie. People driving like nuts and acting like nuts and, well, what the heck, turning into nuts.
Well, it
much
is
as
called
Mad
all
Max.
three of them.
You know Pedro will be feeding for a Mad Max movie.
Ooh.
Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, he would. Considering that theme song Paige likes to quote ad nauseum.
No, okay, yeah, fine. That's aside from the whole fighting around the world thing. Yeah, the problem is that recently with Russell Crowe, I don't think so, because Russell Crowe's acting method basically is to act like he's on horse tranquilizers. So,
Well, I think the answer to why he does that is obvious, considering his past record.
Okay, okay, just a bit of technical info. You guys can't hear my TV, can you?
not really, no.
I can hear it a bit, but it shouldn't affect the audience.
Right.
I'll let you know if it starts to sound loud.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's clear that the people making this film
Could
had a
I
lot of fun.
overact anymore?
How much do you want to bet that if this movie were released in, like, say, present time, critics would go after it because people acted too crazy?
Well, but Joe, the people acted just as crazy as this in Fury Road, and look at the high scores that film got.
I know. It's just like, well, sometimes film critics like to try and act all high and mighty and say, oh, this movie shouldn't be trying to go all crazy. I mean, with it being all too crazy, people can't concentrate, or it completely ruins the message. And
It's
people
called
Mad
Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
That's like having it's like if you had a movie called Calm Sea, but you think, nah, it's too peaceful.
Well, Dwibs, that's kind of one of the reasons why people don't always listen to official critics these days, game and movie-wise.
Okay, funnily enough, this movie was actually made partly as a message for road safety.
Makes sense.
Yeah, basically the movie is saying, if you're not safe on the road, you'll cause the apocalypse.
Wait, seriously? That's what causes the apocalypse? It's been a while since I've seen this movie,
It's not
but-
road safety. The world was pretty much falling apart already at this point.
Yeah. Remember,
Also-
the premise is the stand
Trump?
for the 70s nukes.
So this movie was released in 1979, and it takes place 3 years from that point. So, guys, I didn't know when for the world apparently being in chaos since 1982, I'm perfectly fine.
Well, Dwibs, we got better, according to one of the Mad Max films. And besides, this is just Australia. For all we know, they could have just been coming out of their criminal
Hey,
phase.
still better than the Mobile Suit Gundam continuity where Australia was being fucking wiped out by a colony drop.
Yeah.
I think I might know why the world started to come to peace in the third film, Jova.
What?
People decided, okay, if this means Tina Turner won't act in a movie ever again, we'll do world peace, okay?
I have not seen that movie. I didn't know Tina Turner was in that.
First half is good, the second half sucks.
So, kind of like a lesser bad Godfather 3.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so basically, people are still trying to live a normal life as best they can, but, considering the stuff starting to fall
Yeah.
apart. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, from the country that gave us stuff like Neighbours and Home and Away, this movie.
Oh, hey, that cute little bald baby. That'll be another staple.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's another thing. If there's one thing Miller loves more than visual
Practical
storytelling,
effects,
it's
Yeah.
practical effects. Yeah. In fact, they rammed that fat so down our throats during the advertisement for Fury Road, I nearly got sick of it.
Well, the thing is, Wibbs. the thing is, Wibbs. Being very proud, and talking about how much you're using practical effects, we'll get a lot of film buffs on the Cinema to Zero movie, because a lot of film buffs like me love it when a filmmaker actually goes against the norm and actually does.
Yeah, I get it.
As opposed to, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it's just after the first 500 times you hear it, it's
Yeah,
I have to say,
guess.
though, Miko, I've only seen like bits
Oh,
of Fury Road.
My
but
guess is
Oh,
George
Ooh.
wants to,
Ooh.
I guess George kind of wants, to kind of ram it into the other filmmakers into how lazy they are.
yeah. Hey guys, I'm 70 and I'm still doing this shit.
True, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
And I have to give him credit.
especially after he did such classic as Happy Feet or Babe Goes to Town.
Do you mean Babe
Even
Pig in the
with-
City?
Yeah, whatever the hell it was.
Well, I have to give him credit, Miko. I've only seen like bits of Fury Road, sometimes some of them at my uncle's house. But I have to say, the fact that all that was practical effects, mainly, kind of
Well,
impressed me considering how full scale that movie was.
I'd say
Yeah.
95% of it. 5%, obviously, there's some stuff.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
even-
stuff like the car chases were actually mainly practical effects.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me. And considering how they were going with that sort of stuff, that's not done easily.
Exactly.
Okay, audience, you're probably wondering why we're not really talking about much of the plot of this movie. This movie doesn't really have much of a plot.
Not really.
I'm
It's
guessing
just-
it's
it's
a
just-
slice of life apocalyptic tale. Well,
It's
then
more,
again, the
it's more
apocalypse.
about it's more about the characters rather than an actual free act plot.
Yeah.
Also, a funny thing is, like, well, a lot of people remember Mad Max for the apocalypse. What a lot of people don't remember is, like, well, for the first Mad Max movie ever, the apocalypse isn't in it for quite a bit of the film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of practical, in terms of special effects in general, what 2001 is still the pinnacle in terms of blowing away for me, because I still have no idea how the hell they accomplished the Jupiter and Beyond sequence without CGI.
Okay, so audience, if you want to know the reason why I decided why we did the why I did the intro in a bad Australian accent, blame to you.
Blame. They should thank me.
Exactly, it's entertaining.
I don't know if the Australians are happy that you intentionally suggested Dwebs would do an incredibly offensive Australian accent.
It's okay, Pedro. I've got quite a few Australian friends. They love that kind of shtick whenever people try to imitate
But,
the language. Sort of like us with English from the Japanese.
So it's kind of like me when I hear Americans trying to speak Portuguese.
So
Hey, we have a hey. It's not as entertaining as Portuguese trying to speak American like that soccer coach of yours.
True.
so and also
Well, the thing
okay,
is, okay, I'll go ahead.
okay,
Wes.
actually, okay, yeah, you know what? Actually, I'll introduce all these movies in an Australian accent now.
Actually, how about we each take turns since there's, I think, four.
There's four. Yeah, there's four movies.
Yeah.
Four
Okay,
movies,
we
four
can
of
each
us.
take turns.
One thing.
Yeah.
Well, the
Okay.
thing is, Jova, as Daniela Rua from NCIS on that TV, one of the CIS shows in America, she prove how Portuguese people can indeed do American accent fine when they actually commit to it. I've never seen an American actor actually. Well, okay, the closest thing I've seen is Hugh Laurie, and he's British, so doesn't count.
I know we have a few American actors who can do a Portuguese accent. They just don't come to mind, shall we say. They're mainly, like, say, sometimes side actors who, like, well, we tend to not really have a lot of plots involving Portuguese, sorry.
Yeah, of course. I understand that. Portugal is such a boring country anyway, so...
Whoa.
I'm sure you guys have some exciting stuff, like,
And there is.
There he is, Mel Gibson.
After 12 minutes into the movie.
They killed Kit! No!
You bastards!
So,
All right, basically, interesting thing about the character of Max Rockatansky. Yes, Rockatansky is his last name, although you don't really hear it or see it mentioned all that much. But oddly enough, the opening credits for Fury Road do. But anyway, oddly enough, despite him being an Australian character, none of the live action actors who have played him are Australian. Mel Gibson's American, and Tom Hardy is British. In fact, it was the Mad Max 2015 video game that had an Australian actor play him, and even then it was going to be American at first, but due to a combination of Mad Max fans and George Miller getting pissed,
Yeah.
they went with an Australian guy.
yeah. See, I mean, okay, with Mel Gibson, it makes sense because, he's lived in Australia for a good portion of his life. And with Tom Hardy, he's British. And, well, British are kind of the same as Australians, technically. They're just separated by whether you were considered a good citizen or a criminal at the time. Again, it's funny how Britain has a knack for kind of creating completely different continents inadvertently. Like, let's see, Puritans left Europe and made America. Criminals got pushed out of Britain and Australia.
The military invaded India and, well, it pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah.
Yep, now you see a lot of Indians with British accents because of it.
I'll be right back.
Right. Basically, also, this movie didn't have that big a budget. In Australian dollars, it cost $350,000 to $400,000.
Let me guess, it probably had to do with the conversion rate, because converting to Australian dollars, well, it can be asking for punishment sometimes.
I guess you have to assume it's 1978, 79 Australian dollars.
Depends. Was the studio from Australia or from America?
The original one was Australian.
Okay. In that case, yeah, because, the conversion from American dollars to Australian dollars is, let's see...
That mess.
Basically, Joe, the Roadshow Entertainment, Village Roadshow Entertainment, they usually partner with Warner Brothers, who are the main distributors of the Mad Max films.
Yeah. And basically the conversion is basically $1 is 139% the value of an Australian dollar.
Well, at the moment, we don't know how much it was back in the day.
Oh, true, I should probably check that. Let's see. 19... what date was that?
1979.
The smoking you... Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm crazy about you. Oh, you know what the extras got paid in this movie, apparently?
What?
Beer.
Best rewarding ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would star in a movie if they paid me in beer.
Well, they didn't have much money to go around, so I guess beer was the next best thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that all of Justice Gate is totally not like Auschwitz, we swear.
I wonder whereabouts in Australia was this film filmed?
Ah, here we go. Okay. Oh, wow. So back in 1979, an Australian dollar was only 89% of what a US dollar was worth. Which, trust me, when you do the math, it can really make a big difference.
Oh yeah, the filming was mostly set in or around the city of Melbourne. The car chases were filmed near a town called Little River, and the other parts were filmed in some place called Clunes. Others a place at Tin City, and there's a scene coming up that's filmed in Seaford, Victoria, in Australia.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, the only film that wasn't filmed in Australia was Fury Road, but there are reasons for that, which I will get to.
Yes. The other fetishes for this movie, and ridiculous as fuck engines, but actually work.
Yeah, even Max is questioning it.
So he's putting together some sort of super vehicle to catch criminals, I'm guessing.
Okay, I'll be honest. When I first got the Blu-ray and watched this movie to prepare for Fury Road coming out along with the other two, I did not know there was an Australian language version of this movie, so I listened to this. I just thought the American dub was the only one on it.
What do you think of the American dub before you heard the Australian dub anyway? Even before you knew of the existence of an Australian dub?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, they do a good job with the lip syncing. It's just.
So let me guess. You could tell from the start that there was, that you could tell there was another dub or something.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's clearly Australian, and yet hearing Americans is so weird.
I mean, Americans can do a pretty good Australian accent. It's pretty fun, but I'm guessing that back then they didn't hold as high a standard.
Yeah.
Mm.
Night,
All right.
night, 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 night. Okay, I'm wondering if this is, wondering if the police actually came to try and stop them filming. But they just, but they just left the cars there because,
And then they paid them with beer.
yeah.
So, in Australia, beer is also a currency. So, I wonder which country or continent hosts wine as a special currency.
Italy.
Not really, believe me.
I thought Italy was more so.
We make a good wine, we just overprice it.
Yeah,
What?
same,
Oh
same,
yeah,
same,
and
same
also
thing
great
here.
cheese too.
Same thing here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Max has some friends, but more enemies.
Of course, he's a cop.
Yeah. Well, I think more so than usual because, again, crapsack world.
That car interior is too clean for a couple that pretty much had just sex.
Yeah. So, Hugh Laurie?
Oh boy, a biker
guy-
gang.
That guy just said he looks like Hugh
Yes.
Laurie.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, but-
Bonds from Happy Days?
70s/80s apocalypse are not complete without a biker gang of punks.
Yeah. I gotta say, this Blu-ray remastering I'm watching is actually rather good.
Alright.
Especially for a movie that was, it was originally filmed in 1979.
Yeah.
Okay, it was actually filmed in 77, they did more work in 78, and then released it in 79.
Well, that's what film remasters
Also
are
Pepsi.
for.
And 3, 2, oh,
Man, I sure would love to drink a Pepsi right now.
remember remember, mate, we're getting paid in beer. These haircuts. Okay.
Right?
These films have very weird hairstyles. Again, Crapsack World. So it's like if Fury Road Bill couldn't come up with anything, so he just had most of the cast be bald.
Yeah.
And yet, this is still before things go to utter hell.
What the hell? Dun, dun.
Dun.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. Again, Paige, there's that guy just then, when he first took off his
Yeah,
hat,
yeah.
he looks like Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, I noticed too.
So this is after House ended, Doctor House came to live in 1970s Australia.
I suppose.
I think the only one of these movies that actually has a bit of a central plot is Fury Road.
Well, remember, Dwebs, George Miller always intended the Mad Max franchise more as an anthology rather than a
Yeah,
consistent franchise.
Mm.
Alright. The hell?
The Night Rider.
Right off.
Not to be confused with the Night Fury.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I actually found out why
Well,
people were comparing Fury Road to a comic book, and interesting because one of the writers of that movie is mostly a comic book writer.
who was it?
It was Brandon McCarthy. He's mostly a writer for 2000 AD.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you dare have philosophies. You're going away.
Yeah.
Bubble.
Okay, the composer of this and the second movie was an Australian guy called Brian May.
All right.
And
Well, he didn't have a lot to work with. We remember, Clips. These were not the 80s yet. So
yeah, it was 1979.
no, I mean it was. It would have been full of 80s kind of
Yeah.
like music.
If there is one, yeah. It's only the first and the second movie that had really consistent music styles. The third, again, second half pretty jarring, and the fourth was from Junkie XL, and that was more of a bombastic kind of thing. Yeah, this is bombastic too, but the other one, Fury, is a bit more,
Well, yeah, Fury Road was like a return of the franchise after
30 years.
Yeah, so it makes sense it would be bombastic. Bigger budget and bigger demand and...
Anything.
Well, what do you know? Australia also liked to cosplay after Michael Jackson because that looks like a complete direct rip of his outfit from Thriller.
This was before Thriller, so Michael Jackson was kind of ripping off. Or was at least inspired. I don't know if he watched this film, actually.
A coffin, because why not?
And they're dragging a guy off while riding the bike.
All right. Oh, what a great car!
Yeah.
The flames, well, this is approaching the 80s at this point. So. Mm-hmm. I hate pink elephants. Another thing, the American dub of this replaced. Those
Boy, gee, I want to drink a Coca-Cola right now.
obviously, because this film was made in Australia, they use a lot of Australian slang. Here, it's American slang.
What kind of movie makes a product placement of both Pepsi and Coca-Cola? That's suicide.
This movie.
Well, to play devil's advocate, maybe was unintentional, and the thing was just there.
I suppose.
And you know how long it took for this movie to get released in North America with its original Australian dialogue?
Go ahead and tell us.
2000. Film came out the film came out in the States in 1980, and it took them 20 years to get an Australian language, and even then it was only a limited release. So yeah, Carnage.
Car demolishing.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah, that car was perfectly fine.
A perfectly good car and you waste it like that. How barbaric.
You know what's ironic?
Yeah?
What?
This film got banned in New Zealand.
Why?
I'll be right back.
All right then.
Banned in New Zealand. Oh yeah, he's
I
right.
guess the Hobbits were too sensible, I suppose. What the hell? Crow shot? What that movie? What?
Let's see. Apparently, it got banned in New Zealand because of a scene where a certain character gets burned alive inside his vehicle.
Let me guess. It's against a particular law of New Zealand.
Well, it actually unintentionally mirrored an incident with a real gang shortly before the film's release.
Ouchie.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that cut thing from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In MGS2, they had to remove the Twin Towers from it.
Yeah. It also got banned in Sweden, or actually removed in Sweden in 2005 for reasons unknown.
Well, at least it wasn't a Clockwork Orange situation where they banned the movie because apparently the movie was making people evil.
All right, here we go. The tiled. Oh, here he is. Yeah, I'm sure he will listen to you.
No stock, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can get into why this film was banned in New Zealand.
Already covered it.
Job already covered it.
Oh. Did he tell you why it got banned in Sweden?
Actually, I do not know the reason for that. Do you know?
Well, according to this, again, it's got no citation on Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt. Actually, it doesn't really give a reason.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't know the reason.
Yeah. In fact, the ban only got removed in 2005.
Wow.
So they're fine with ABBA, but this film's not...
Oi.
Seems that the majority of people in this universe are rapists, evil, people who manipulate.
Oh yeah, the reaction to this movie when it first came out was rather polarizing. When it was released in 1979 in Australia, a guy named Philip Adams, who was a film producer and a social commentator in Australia, he condemned the film, saying it had all the emotional uplift of Mein Kampf, and would be a special favourite of rapists, sadists, child murderers, and incipient Charles Mansons.
Of course.
What do you expect? It's a movie about the apocalypse. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, is it?
Yeah.
Seems like whenever stuff like this or A Clockwork Orange comes out, it's always the country that it takes place in that seems to take the most offense.
Yeah, and also for a movie that only cost like about 400,000 Australian dollars, it actually did rather well worldwide. It made 100 million US dollars, making it at one point it was the most profitable film ever. And it only lost that, and it only lost that record in 1999 because of the Blair Witch Project.
By most profitable. Oh, you most profitable. Okay.
Yeah, but it costs, in terms of like, it doesn't cost much but makes a truckload of money.
Okay.
So,
although I have to say, despite that, it did get an 89% at the Rotten Tomatoes.
I think that's taking more modern reviews into account. Speaking of that, how many George Miller films have you guys seen?
I've seen Fury Road, and I've pretty much seen.
Let's see.
I think I didn't see Mad Max 3, but I have seen this one, 2, and Fury Road. 3, I don't remember if I saw it or not. I think I did, but I'm not sure.
I saw this one. I forgot. Beyond Thunderdome, Fury Road, Happy Feet, and yes, and that Babe movie.
Oh yeah, Happy Feet. Yeah, I forgot about that piece of crap.
I sense you don't like that good movie.
No.
I haven't seen
Well,
that
then
one.
again, that movie has its fair share of issues, so I'm not going to try and argue it. I mean, I like it, but I'll admit it's not for everyone.
The story has been seen so many fucking times. I've already predicted everything that was going to happen.
What about the second one?
It's kind of like with Rango.
I didn't even try.
I just said that.
The second one is surprisingly not as preachy in that regard, although the plot is, well, it depends, really. If you're really
Tio, by the way, Tio, you said you didn't bother with the second movie?
Yeah.
Don't worry, no one else did either.
Yeah, in fact, I only saw the second movie when it came to DVD.
Yeah, the second one was a financial flop.
Yeah, I mean, the first movie was keen, and like, okay, we'd seen that story before, but at least it was told nicely and with enough entertainment. But 2 just seems like a trying to cash in.
That white-haired guy, for some reason, he reminds me of Freddie Prinze Jr. More specifically, when he was in Scooby-Doo.
Makes sense, since, you know, he was blonde in that one.
So Hugh Laurie and Freddie Prinze Jr. travel back in time to be in this movie.
I guess.
And apparently some guy who looks a lot like a much younger Donald Trump.
I suppose.
I haven't seen, in terms of my experience with George Miller, It's only really the Mad Max movies. I haven't seen either of the Babe films, especially the one where especially
Oh
the
god, I
second one that
forgot
he
he made
directed.
those too. Jesus.
Actually, Pedro, he only directed the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first, it's cheesy, but it's still enjoyable to some kind. The second one, fuck no.
I'm curious. I mean, I recall seeing those when I was like incredibly young, but I don't remember what happened.
I'm just wondering how they advertise those movies from the guy who gave you a crazy, masculine adrenaline rush in the Mad Max movies, filled with its hardcore violence, comes a happy film about a pig.
Dwebs, you tend to be very surprised that artists can be versatile. This is not a new thing.
I know. It's just, it is a little bit weird seeing the guy who is mostly famous for making these kind of movies trying to make a kids film, which isn't inherently a bad thing. In fact, very few.
Yeah,
things are inherently bad.
honestly, Dibs, after Tim Burton, there are no limits. I mean, would you believe that Tim Burton used to not really be into the whole dark thing?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, Tim Burton wasn't never about dark theme, more about surreal and
it's
surprising
Yeah,
stuff.
I remember it.
Well, that too. Well, that too.
Frankenweenie
that
was
too.
originally specifically made as a family film.
Exactly.
film directors usually take like a couple of films to start setting up their stick.
Honestly, amigo, I've never really. Okay, there are some directors I will admit have a code to them, but that doesn't necessarily bar them from doing, different out there stuff. And as for advertising based on who's directed, I don't think I've ever really seen most movies really do the whole let's bank on a directorial name as opposed to banking on an actor's name.
Also, Miller directed a part of the Twilight Zone movie. I haven't seen that
Nice.
This music.
Yeah.
Bong, bong, bong.
We.
Ugh, I love punchy people when they're buried in rubbish. Uh-oh.
All right.
Skak. Okay.
No, Dweebs, the correct line is I will find him!
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh boy, police brutality.
Well, again, crapsack world and stuff. Okay, I need to think of a new way to describe this other than crapsack world. I've done it again.
Unintentional prediction of future real world?
Shit. That's what I'll say. It's shorter and it's Okay, that guy obviously loved Clockwork Orange too much. Whoa.
Holy shit.
I don't think having the shotgun that close is a good idea. If it were any closer, it'd take off at least your hair, if not your head.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but you better watch out for when that bullet comes down.
The owls are not what they seem.
The great animal is not what it seems. It's not what it seems.
Thank you, Pedro. I was referencing Twin Peaks and you immediately jumped to Swan Princess.
Okay. I wish we had an Australian here for our commentaries because is bronze a slang word for the police over there?
Dang, if I'd known about this in advance, I would have invited Haley.
Maybe for the other Mad Max movies?
Who knows?
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Although it'll be ironic if we did it for Fury Road, because Fury Road wasn't filmed in Australia. Because I already said that.
So, what are we going to do with him? Holy shit.
We're going to feed him a nice course of shotgun sausage.
Well, maybe he needs to integrate iron in his diet.
Well, now, I'll have you know, lad.
Hey. Okay,
It's like that plot point in X-Men 2 when Mystic injects iron in the garden, but Magneto extracts him for no reason.
was to escape.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, whatever. I don't go to superhero films for scientific accuracy.
Some actually do have some in it, though.
Yeah, but that's not the main reason I go to it.
Anyway.
I forgot. Okay,
Sugar,
because I'm more used to seeing... I've only seen this film once in full, and because I'm more used to seeing Yuki's burn behind that mask in Fury Road, I've forgotten what he looks like in this movie.
I forgot to actually. It's been a while since I watched this.
Let's see.
Maybe, okay, I'll have a look.
This also reminds me. I'm surprised if you're fine with this movie because remember the pace. If you haven't noticed already, the pace is relatively slow.
Well, actually, Theo, considering he managed to sit through Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick's slowest movie, this isn't that. This is nothing compared to Eyes Wide Shut.
Basically, here's the image.
And for the sake of comparison, why not compare him to how he looks nowadays?
John Titt. Oh, do you mean behind the mask or just Yuki's burn himself?
Jova, that's...
I meant Yuki's burn himself.
Jovi.
Yeah, I know.
You tripped with the trip code.
Yuki's burn turned into text.
Yes, and then he turned into this.
Could you remove the massive wall of text, Jova?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, that's him. That's him now. Interesting.
Anyway.
So yeah, we're almost
You know
halfway through this movie.
Yeah, we see Mel Gibson only once at the 12-minute mark.
Yeah.
Didn't we see him that other time when they brawled in the alley?
This was before he became the star that he was.
Yeah. But you know, a movie with the name of a titular character on it, yeah.
True.
Well, it's not again, Max in these movies is more of an observer than anything else.
And I guess that makes sense. Like, we'll use the primary character to be the one observing the whole world, someone you can relate to and follow around with.
Getting caught up in these crazy situations. Wait till we get to Road Warrior, because the villain in that is Rancic from Power Rangers Time Force.
It will be interesting to see how he goes from being, an officer of the law to, apparently, from what I've seen in Fury Road, just one of the many insane crowd.
Well, again, I don't think Fury Road... The Mad Max films aren't... It's like Tia said, the Mad Max films, from what I can tell, don't really follow any sort of continuity.
Well, I'm pretty sure they do. Well, at least in regards to the character of Max.
No, remember, Joe, it's what I told you. The function is an anthology. Yeah, the setting is the same and the rules are the same, but there's no particular order in what things happen. Max himself is more regarded as like a mythological figure than an actual character.
If you say so, I guess I'll probably take your advice. Well, I guess I'll just wait and see what happens, actually, because I do hear from some people there is some sense of continuity, although the idea is, of course, to take them in an anthology route. That makes sense.
Stop this crazy thing!
I can't!
Do you need a bit more power?
No, don't!
The blast processing is enough, thank you.
Okay, also,
first-person view. That's actually was a kind of a neat thing in 1979.
Ow. As I say, Yuki's burn. He's caught in this TV trope. Says the trope: mean character, nice actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hughes Burns apparently that because here and on Fury Road he plays an absolute monster, but off camera he's actually from what I hear he's a pretty swell dude. That's one good thing about actors. They can play the most vicious people
Of
ever.
course.
Yet turn out to be
Oh,
complete
absolutely.
sweethearts.
A more modern example would be Sean William Scott, who plays Stifler in the American Pie movies. However, according to the audio commentary, it seems Sean William Scott in real life is actually pretty much the polar opposite of the character.
And the list goes on, of course. Like, there's Alan Rickman as Snape, J.K. Simmons as, the guy in Whiplash.
The instructor.
The instructor.
Yeah, we've already, but yeah, we did. I already told Tia we did that film. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dozy Dwibbs, the forgetter of things. Yeah, in fact, yeah, that's something we could do. Remind me when we do Mad Max 2, we need to introduce ourselves with with alliterations. I'm Dozy Dwibbs, Jolly Jover, Pissed Pedro, Tipsy Tio.
Tip
Wait.
what?
But Pedro's usually the one who no, Pedro is better tolerance. So you're usually the one who gets tipsy, Dwibs.
Are there any other T's that Tio can use?
I don't know. I don't know.
Terrific, Tio.
I don't
Thank
know.
you, Jova.
I don't know. I think I think Pissed Pedro fits me better.
Okay.
Well, Tio, what do you think fits with you? There's
I don't know, and
There's-
honestly, I don't care. Alliteration is overrated. There you go.
I don't think what's leaking there is water.
Yeah.
That cop isn't by chance his best friend, is he?
That's Yuki's burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew he'd grow up to be you knew he'd grow up to be a guy with white hair and having
You're
to wear a mask.
fired.
Oh, and also Yuki's burn was apparently supposed to play someone in George Miller's cancelled Justice League movie. I don't know who it was exactly, but
So, what's this about Yuki's burn in some mask?
he plays the main villain in Fury Road, who wears a mask because he's
Yeah.
old and ill and stuff.
Nice throwback, different character.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, I see the theme now. Basically, this bad guy's influenced.
While we're talking, he's burning his fingers because, that fire match is consuming. Jesus Christ.
Maybe he'd throw it if you let his head go. Oh.
There we go. You're fired.
Freddie Prinze
All right.
Jr. is satisfied.
All right.
Also, unfortunately, this is one of those cases where we can't do the roll credits joke because he isn't actually called Mad Max on screen.
That is so small.
All right. Usually, the famous car Max drives is
The Interceptor.
well, most people call it the Interceptor, but it's actually a pursuit special. But it's called Interceptor because, well,
Jesus
it sounds
Christ.
cooler. Whoa. Well, I guess that obviously got a little bit hot under the collar.
Luke, I am your father.
Let me look at you with my own eyes, Max.
What?
Weird cross.
What is this transition?
I own.
What was that weird cross dissolve?
I don't know.
Let me guess.
Well,
That cop was his best friend, wasn't he?
it was like the. I
Okay,
mean,
either this was an edit, or they couldn't afford to have a realistic looking burnt
or
face.
maybe
So
he wanted to do something creative like Captain Scarlet.
I guess my wager is budget, because again, this only was like 350 to 400,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Also,
What?
yeah, Mel Gibson just woke up from his nightmare of having to be in Expendables 3.
Oh God.
Oh, and also his career after his anti-Semitism.
He
But
should be
again,
happy he even has one after that.
Yeah.
anyway, let's not.
Oh, quiet on the Western Front. The
And it's a
glorious,
lovely day
quiet
in Australia
home front.
with clear skies. Okay, maybe not clear skies, and a lovely
They would love just to walk out. Oh wait, never mind.
and a lovely baby just walking around and having a good time with her
lovely
cop
half
husband.
naked people.
And now we cross live to somewhere in Melbourne where Max Rockatansky is having a nice peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Boy, does our job sometimes get very boring.
And this is Jover's practicing for his intro for whatever Mad Max movie he's going to introduce.
All right, guys. Let's try to knock down the offensive accents.
Yeah.
Well, actually, to be fair, Pedro, there are certain districts of Australia which actually do have an accent similar to the one Dwibs and I are going for, respectively.
All right. Okay, I propose Jover can. Yeah, you can switch if you want, but I propose that Jover can do the intro for Mad Max 2. Pedro can.
I'll take Fury Road.
I was hoping to give Fury Road to Tio.
Oh, any particular reason?
Because I believe.
Well, you can give me Beyond Thunderdome. Seem to be the
Alright.
person who likes it.
All right, you can do Beyond Thunderdome then if you wish. Also,
All
he's,
right. I guess I'll stick with.
yeah, Max is quitting. Is coming here to quit the Force.
Why? Because he wants to do justice his way.
Okay. In that case, yeah, I'll stick with Mad Max 2 then, since I actually do kind of remember that film.
Okay. I guess Paige will be doing Fury Road.
Okay, I guess I'll do that then. Well, Fury Road is my favorite, so sure, that works for me.
I mean, nowadays, it's most people's favorite.
But don't you know, there are no more heroes, as Sita 51 taught us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these guys trying to Okay, I'm wondering if this was in the script or if they were actually trying to talk about how they were going to act the scene out.
I'm guessing neither, because honestly, I don't think a lot of the crazy stuff was as planned.
Why?
So he's quitting the Force because he's afraid he'll abuse his police power or something?
Basically, he wants to have revenge on these guys, but doesn't want to involve the police.
Either
So-
them or his family.
Yeah.
But dude, you not being a cop could put your family in even more danger.
Yeah. Yeah, Mel, grow a beard. I'm sure you won't, I'm sure you'll look fine with it.
No, I mean, seriously, are you sure you're thinking this out, Max? I mean, well, if you leave the Force and you're no longer a cop, your family could be an even bigger liability since you won't have a lot of the Force backing you up.
True.
Well, there's one mention of his last name.
Good old days when you can just ride down the center of the road. Who needs to pay attention to that line in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there's the tree from that logo you see in a lot of films.
Jerry Bruckheimer, you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Also, it's funny considering, Mel Gibson, Matt said earlier, he's
Oh, hi,
worried,
Star Trek.
he's worried he's
Well,
going to become as
something,
bad as, he's worried he's going to become just as bad as the criminals that he's fighting. TV Tropes has that under a harsher in hindsight for Mel Gibson in general.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is it safe to be swimming in there considering some of the, native creatures of Australia?
Yeah, alligators, maybe?
No, crocodiles. Dibs. Crocodiles are Australia. Alligators are Florida.
Well, forgive me if I'm not an expert in Australia.
Have you seen Jumanji, Dweebs?
Years ago.
Well,
How is it that-
Robin Williams told you the difference in that case.
How is it that Americans know more about Australia than Britons do?
Well, the only similarities we share really are the fact that we've got a British flag as part of our flag.
Because
We both speak English, and and both of us have a very proud cricket rivalry.
Well, to be fair, there's not much difference between you two because remember, Australia is basically where you guys.
Well, there is a big difference. It's tomorrow over there.
Yeah.
Okay, that was clever.
Yeah, but they should have filmed Tomorrowland in Australia. Then it really would have been called Tomorrowland.
For Britain, anyway.
Yeah. I still feel. Never mind. I'll complete that sentence.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, you wait 30
Then-
years.
Then,
Wait, they haven't married yet?
oh, no, they are married.
Oh, okay, so he's just doing the whole small talk thing.
Yeah. Okay, I wonder if Miller had them kiss then and there because he's like, oh crap, I can't write. I don't know if I can write romantic dialogue. Just kiss each other. because Miller is also a writer as well. He co-wrote all the Mad Max movies.
Mm-hmm. So wait, he's a car salesman now?
Well, he has to do
I
something
guess.
after. He has to do something after his.
Interesting change of careers. I guess it makes sense considering his boldness with cars.
Either that, or he's just on his way back from, his little day out with his wife, and decided to get a new car or something. Yeah, in terms of the Mad Max movies, the reason why Road Warrior in the original trilogy is considered better than this one because it's more faster paced. Faster pace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fast paced, yeah.
Yeah. And also, it's actually shot rather well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of bird does that?
The birds in this universe.
Australian birds.
I suppose. Well, then again, this is a post-apocalyptic world. Maybe they're radioactive.
Well, then
birds.
again, because it would be an Australian.
Okay, I found out who Hugh Keys Byrne was supposed to play in that abandoned Justice League movie.
Aquaman.
Wait. Hold on. Which year are we talking about? Because there have been several abandoned Justice League movies.
2008, George Miller's one.
Ah. Okay, go on.
He was supposed to play Martian Manhunter, whoever he is.
Wow.
Huh. That's... Well, I mean, I guess it could work,
Well, it's still
although...
an improvement, considering how apparently Zack Snyder hates the character and doesn't want to use it.
Actually, Tio, that's kind of more so based off of the comics, sadly. Because for some reason, ever since New 52... Wait, is Martian Manhunter even on the Justice League in the New 52?
I forgot. Well, remember, Joe, it doesn't really matter anymore, thanks to Rebirth.
Oh, yeah, Rebirth! I forget. Did they, like, change it back to the original, or...
It's a pre-Flashpoint, but some characters had some changes, aka 10 years of their lives stripped. For example, Green Arrow and Black Canary are not together anymore, but there are glimpses that they remember something.
So,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
I forget. How much to convert... Oh.
I'll tell you later.
Ow.
Joe.
Okay, so guys, we just did an experiment where we found out what happens when you try and stop a car with a chain. It
Newton's
doesn't-
first law.
It doesn't end well.
That Tom got my baby.
Okay, now I know that Tio's Australian accent's going to be interesting to hear. Yeah, crazy people. It's like that guy's almost mad.
I know. I mean, seriously. Trying to go and save that supposedly kidnapped baby makes no sense if you ask me, mate.
Okay.
Unless, of course, I'm a crooked dealer just working with the guy who stole said kid.
Ow.
Got your nose.
Oh, nose hold.
On the road again.
Now, what do I do with guys whose noses I grab?
Ring 'em.
Yeah. Punch 'em?
No, you ring 'em.
Fine. Yeah, she just wanted to get away.
Oh well. C'est la vie. Oh. It's a piece of human.
What?
Yeah. Need a hand.
That's what I was gonna say. Well, Mel Gibson looks so much different compared to what he looks like now.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he aged terribly, honestly.
Well, apparently Mel Gibson's actually directing a movie coming out, I think, this year or next.
What's about his life?
No,
I'm
but
surprised.
that'd be a very interesting movie. What do you even call it anyway? I Hate Jews or something?
The life and miracles of Hitler.
No. You know that Springtime for Hitler thing from the producers? He try and make a straight version of it. Yeah, here we are. Hacksaw Ridge.
Huh.
Starring people like Andrew Garfield and Vince Vaughn. Didn't know Vince Vaughn did serious stuff. I thought he was more of a comedy
He
guy.
has done a few. Yeah.
He's done some serious stuff.
Although a third season 2 of True Detective that
Remember,
he was very good.
he did The Cell.
Oh yeah, right.
And he did Psycho.
The remake.
Well, how should I put it? Okay, yeah, it's a remake, but it's one of those special kind of remakes. You know, like, well, it's an actual 1-to-1 remake. I mean, with some updated stuff here and there. Reminds me, Pedro, what are your thoughts on that remake?
I guess it was fine-ish.
Which is funny because it was from the
I recall it
writer.
being-
It was from the guy who wrote the original movie.
I recall that movie got infamous for some reason. Although I
It's a
can't quite
remake.
recall.
Jova, I can offer a simple reason. Remake of classic movie equals people are automatically going to hate it.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Oh, and also I've heard it. I've heard the problem is if you're just making the original almost exactly like the original, and there's no point. I'll just watch the original.
Yeah, to quote the creator of the Full Metal Alchemist manga, an adaptation that has zero changes is pointless.
Unless you're Tio.
Yeah.
Eh?
Unless you're Tio.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
What?
A new trailer for Mighty Number 9 just came out, and basically in every single region
for the whole day though. That's not.
No, I'm talking about today. I mean, well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I just
I've already
figured
seen it, and it's terrible, but we'll get to that later.
it's got dislikes galore in every single region. The USA one, the UK one, the Spanish one, the Denmark one, Italian, French, you name it.
So, I thought Mad Max was an apocalyptic desert film, not an apocalyptic woods film.
I know, that's probably what a lot of people are thinking if this is their first time watching.
Yeah, me too. Actually, at this point, all I knew was what my dad told me. My dad told me it was post-apocalypse, but I didn't know what kind of post-apocalypse it was. I thought it was going to be like set in some futuristic, hellish-looking city.
And it does, but in later films, it's kind of like.
No, I meant to like high tech and stuff. High tech, but it's really rusty and stuff.
Ah, okay.
That's what I thought.
It's
but
kind of like.
Nice Australian sea frontier.
Wee! Random dog.
Hi, doggy.
Whoa, a lot of cuts here and there.
Yeah, the movie has weird Yeah, this movie has weird transitions. One that we noticed earlier was the whole we can't really show the guy's face because either it was edited out in these releases or they couldn't afford to make the face look convincing, so we just did that to her.
Yeah.
We just cut to Mel Gibson's shocked face. How do I get home? This forest looks the bloody same.
I know. Stuff like that tends to happen, darling.
Okay, we should probably give this commentary a subtitle. Apologies to Australians everywhere.
Exactly.
Anywho, yeah, as for the inspiration of this movie, George Miller was a medical doctor in Sydney working in a hospital emergency room where he saw many injuries and deaths of the types depicted in the film. He also witnessed many car accidents growing up in rural Queensland and had, as a teenager, lost at least 3 friends in accidents. So consider that the inspiration for this movie. Oh yeah, that and also the 1973 oil crisis's effects on Australian motorists.
Don't you see, Jovar? Soon enough, the war will invent oil leaks, but then the nation of Zanzibar land will kidnap the scientists who made it.
Yes.
So this is a prequel to
course.
So this is a prequel to Metal Gear.
Metal Gear 2 specifically.
Huh. It's interesting when you think about it like that.
Which is interesting because when I think of well, then again, that's more so.
Oh my God! They're killing them one by one.
The humanity.
I hate squirrels. Uh-oh, my Gibson sense is tingling.
Yeah.
Wait, should I do it in my American accent or my Australian one?
Just stick with your American one for the theme.
I've been running for 5 minutes. I'm exhausted.
Let's see.
Oh.
What am I supposed to do?
Oh.
Oh boy. I wonder if that reminds me of that little it reminds me of, a plot point in Tropic Thunder was that the main actor played by Ben Stiller was having a hard time in his career after he tried to portray a a guy with mental problems, but he did it horribly.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to repeat that for the sake of those who missed it. A mentalish guy with mentalish problems. You're the master of redundancy, Webs.
Yeah. Funny. Earlier while we were looking for this movie online, me and Pedro thought we were going to have a hard time finding the Australian version, and yet we found it first
Didn't
time.
we already talk about that at the beginning of this commentary?
No, we just brought up, how we're not going to humour the dumbasses who tried to dub over this.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. I was the one who said that it's actually rather easy to find.
I was actually surprised.
Well, give America credit nowadays. I mean, we know, what to fix and what not to.
Run.
And yes, Dweebs, you actually have Warner Brothers this day to thank for the international release.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
You seem to be doing a lot of that.
Ooh.
Ouchie.
Well, found your kid.
You what, mate?
My baby. Yeah. No sense of humor. I mean, come on.
You got a pretty face, though. Yes, because I'm not going to have one in about 36 years. Losing the... Oh my god, this in hindsight, this is kind of setting up his character in Fury Road.
Have revenge on your husband. Yes, this is.
The humanity.
Oh.
Well, she is serious. Ow. Your Buckingham is not that threatening if they, get threatened by a lady, old lady with a shotgun.
Lady, what do you mean open the door? Door's already open. Here, is she blind? And if so, I wouldn't trust her with that gun. Oh, that door. That door, okay, yeah. I'm blind. So don't give me a shotgun, guys. Or any gun.
You also need to know how to handle it right, too.
True.
Yeah. Oh, no. We're like the aliens in Signs. What's our weakness?
Water.
Wait.
Wood.
Bob.
They seem to have traveled with pantry doors.
Plot twist.
How do we know what Signs is, anyway?
Plot twist. The aliens are actually fire Pokemon.
Again, time travel.
Well, it's
actually, rather more like rock Pokemon in this case.
But it's the futuristic date of 1982.
I suppose.
Movie logic, alright? And the logic of someone who can't really come up with this kind of stuff on the fly.
Car already
so
stopped.
shut up.
Fine. Wouldn't be the first time.
Inconvenient. Ding! So, And also, this woman's a graduate of the Prometheus School of Running Away from Things.
Yeah.
You could just run to the side.
Why are you running down the street?
Just run to the side of the road.
Yeah.
And also, Grandma missed.
Side. Hello?
Terrain?
Yeah?
Dun dun dun.
Oh no. And it was her stupidity that cost her life.
Her and her kid, since the shoes fell away, so you know that means the kid is dead. Or it could just mean that she dropped him.
All you had to do was run to the side. So, okay, the trope should have been called the Mad Max School of Running Away from Things.
And he's chasing them on foot. Oh wait, no, he's running to his dead wife.
Well,
and
he's
kid.
Mel Gibson. You know he's crazy enough to catch them.
True.
I will channel the power of crazy to get the people who killed my wife. Okay.
Well, in that case, Max, I hate to say it, but your wife kind of did herself in.
Yeah, because she was a bit of an idiot.
Yeah.
All the bikers really did was just drive on.
Yeah. Wait, she lost an arm?
Well,
Dubs, you've seen. I thought you had seen this movie.
I know I've seen it, but even now, I don't really understand it. She
They
lost
could
an
have very
arm.
well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Multiple traumas. Yeah.
Depends on what happens.
So yeah, the wife and the kid are dead. Well, normally I'd be pretty sad, but since the wife was stupid, I can do this song. Da 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 da.
The old 1970s, where either something that was regarded as heartbreaking back then is kind of silly going off of how it's done.
Yeah. Sorry, Damon Lindelof, but again, I officially rechristen it the Mad Max School of Running Away from Things.
So maybe the maker of Prometheus was trying to pay homage to what was a classic?
it's time to gear up.
Yep.
Well.
Okay, now I will become the unmasked version of Judge Dredd. I go out, seriously, the long walk, he goes out into the desert to take the law to the lawless, and he's a cop. And he had a few days to retirement. Seriously, he's playing Judge Dredd here pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And now he will take out his anger on those who have wronged him.
Or just get information out of them. That's a nice toothbrush mustache. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Ouchie.
Ooh.
You don't want to get Mel Gibson even more crazy than he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here comes a. This is going to introduce a common thing about these movies. There's going to be a shortage of a precious commodity, and in these films' cases, it's fuel. In Fury Road, it's the rarest commodities. I think water, and fuel too.
I thought it was oil as well. Oh wait, no, that was the real life thing.
Or in
Although
Australia, it's called gasoline.
In Beyond Thunderdome, I think it was Wasn't it Fuel too in Beyond Thunderdome?
Might
Forgot.
have been. Again, I've only seen the original 3 films in full once, and that was more to prepare for Fury Road because I hadn't seen the Mad Max film up to that point. Also, hey, wait, guy coming onto a fuel tanker using a pole.
Yeah,
Ah.
it's kind of a bit late for the movie to all of a sudden bring in, the whole plot of water being a rarity.
But hey, guy coming from the guy coming onto a tanker from a pole. Was that scene in Fury Road a homage to this movie?
Probably.
There it is. The yeah, I'll just call it the Interceptor. It's easier to remember, plus it sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not the correct name technically, but come on, sounds cooler.
I mean, okay, I will admit, it does seem a bit weird that they're bringing in the whole, plot line of water being some MacGuffin that people are hunting for.
Wee.
Wait, you're forgetting about me.
Well, too bad.
Interesting how you go from the Australian countryside to Australian desert in the next movie.
Well, considering the contents of Australia, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
You could very well go from city to desert.
Yeah, walking around in the outback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I didn't know any better, I thought that tyre got shoved up that biker's arse. Ah, crap. Okay, do I call the police, or, oh wait, the police are kind of crap in this world, aren't they?
And lacking. I mean, seriously, is there anyone left aside from, those other 3?
You know, it's like, they vanished from this movie pretty much. It's like without Mel Gibson, they couldn't keep hold of the world of their existence, so they just vanished.
Hmm.
For hire.
The irony. Alright.
Look at our fancy bikes.
Let's see how Mel Gibson will pull out on this one.
Yeah.
Short
Just-
answer, he can't.
So he just
Aw,
uses,
but he gave it his best effort.
he uses his police siren.
Oh, well, at
okay.
least the driver is polite enough.
Yes,
Yeah.
Aw.
Even in the post-apocalyptic shithole, there's still kindness in the world. Also,
Or maybe this is some kind of rivet. Well, it wasn't in the time, but, at least it's some variation from...
guys, we have to stop. This is a prohibited area.
Yeah.
Don't you know,
This-
Rubes? Heroes go with it.
This was at least some refreshing from the fact that in a post-apocalyptic universe, everyone is an asshole for some reason.
What are you going to say, Joe? The heroes go where the whats? You cut off there.
And it's still cut off. Dun 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 dun.
Maybe it was called or something.
No. Toe Cutter got him.
Ah, okay.
He kidnapped him and made him into one of his war boys. Oh,
Like it had to hurt.
yeah.
Get out of the way or they'll run you over.
Oh.
Oh!
Okay. The Rockatansky family is full of idiots. They don't know they don't know the concept of running to the side.
I mean, I guess to be fair, in Max's case, it might be because he can't, I guess, because...
Yeah, he got shot in the knee. But, you know, okay. It's the
But-
wife who's the stupidest.
Mm-hmm.
Ow.
Whew. Go ahead. Make my day.
A lovely day.
All right.
Wait! Stop! I'll get
No,
you!
stop. Come back.
Fuck.
Just
That's how
wait.
you get the prosthetic, not prosthetic, but the tutor.
Just wait, you bastard! I'll catch you! Ow.
Athletic as you may be, a shot knee ain't gonna do you any good.
Ugh. Alas, even in my mad state, a bad knee is all it takes to knock me down.
Ooh, and a bad twisted knee by the looks of it.
Yep.
Don't worry, I'll catch up with him.
Now you will. Just, never mind the other guy. He's sticking around for dinner. And now it's time for the final showdown. I
Hey.
think.
Max versus Toe Cutter.
Who will win?
Battle of the V8s.
Car versus motorcycle. I'm
Car
pretty sure we all
versus
know how
criminal.
this goes.
We're gonna play a children's card game.
Cop
Maybe.
v Crook. The only thing they have in common, aside from being humans and Australian, is that at this point they've got nothing to lose. Also, with the power of sped up footage, Max will save the day.
Yay!
Now we'll see. Can a motorcycle for once actually be able to resist the ramming of a car?
Well, it's getting away from it.
Okay. Sudden acceleration. Whoa, bloodshot
Holy
eyes.
shit!
Well, it can get away from car, but I don't think it's good with trucks.
And, good job, Max.
I
Yeah, Max-
guess.
Chased him into the truck.
So yeah, Mad Max, more like accidental Max.
Yep.
He even killed the main villain. He just a truck came out of nowhere and hit him. And so off he goes into the night, and where he will begin his journey as an outcast into the Australian outback, assuming he doesn't die at the wheel from falling asleep.
I'll say.
No, Dweebs, he's not you.
Also funny because I'm going to be spending some of the summer trying to study to get my driver's license.
Have fun with that.
Guessing studying here is a little bit different than it is in the States.
Let's just say New York is quite possibly the strictest when it comes to getting a license.
Hi, a bike.
Ah, yes. Do stop inconveniently in the middle of a bridge. Alright, let's see.
And of course, the traditional apocalypse thing. Scavenge.
Hi.
Oh, Max has an idea.
Oh dear. You know, I could just run away, right?
He's got a shotgun. You can try. Although you may spend half of that run with your head blown off.
I can't get around.
Oh boy, here we go.
Dang.
Handcuffed to a car that is leaking gas. This should end well.
Do you mean
Also,
gasoline?
Yeah, karmic considering what he did to his colleague. Sure you're not. Will you just shut up?
Well, might as well spend his last moments living doing all he can.
Is that what you be if you don't shut up?
Oh, he's going to play Saw with him, literally.
Oh, goody.
So this is Saw
Before Saw.
24 years early because the original short film was 2003.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that it's going to be hard to run away from that explosion with 1 foot, but
Yeah.
At least he will have a chance.
if the pain doesn't knock him out, sure.
Well, mate,
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
guess
happened.
he's compensated. I guess he's compensating for not getting direct vengeance on that guy.
it's either your rank.
Skipping.
Well,
Quota met.
it's either your rank or your life.
There we go.
Did he
I wonder
survive?
which choice he made.
The world may
Uh,
never know.
I'm going to assume he died because he was too
Or
busy.
maybe,
I guess he was too busy ranting at Max.
maybe he comes back in a later film.
He doesn't.
Huh, so I guess it's just left ambiguous because that appears to be the end of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And it
it.
is. That's Mad Max.
Indeed.
What a weird movie.
Yeah, it's strange, it's, real.
A weird
Well,
movie
it's Mad
from
Max.
George Miller.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean weird as in like going like, well, it's all weird at the aesthetics. I mean, ironically, the aesthetics are actually quite tame here, especially when you compare them to the sequels. I was talking more about the structure of this movie. It's bizarre, but not in a bad way necessarily.
All right,
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, it's a pleasant movie. Pleasant in the tier, pleasant in its aesthetics. Let's just say the same for the faint of heart. Well, actually, maybe, considering how mellow stuff looks, but it's
It
still
got, an
fun.
18, it got an 18 rating round here.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, I wouldn't say it was boring, but I mean, I guess, well, obviously the sequels are better, shall we say. I mean, it was nice. And like I said, the structure was weird. I mean, really weird. I mean, we barely had the main character in, but then all of a sudden he's boom back in, has a main motive of vengeance, and doesn't really get vengeance on the main bad guy. And then leaves us with that ambiguous choice, like whether the guy saw the split up or whether he just blew up. Either way,
Yeah.
oh boy, do I see
You
suffering in this
decide.
picture. Either way, bad stuff happens to him. So, yeah. Nice movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice.
At least a good start up,
For,
honestly.
for me, it's
Agreed.
like it's a pretty good movie, but the sequels are much better, and that's about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Ribs?
Okay. Yeah. It is a good movie, but yeah, the issues of this movie can be traced back to the pacing. Not that we really brought it up a whole lot, but compared to the other movies, especially Road Warrior and Fury Road, it's definitely it's slower. Not that slow is a bad thing, especially not in this case.
It kind of tries to have its cake and eat it in regards to like trying to decide between an anthology or having a main plot.
But yeah, overall, it's a good movie. But again, two and a half movies are better than this one. And
Well,
Alright, see you for the sequel.
see you for Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior.
All right, see you then.
See ya.